Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. I'm sitting here today in the office once again, knocking out a few videos, but I was able to hear a couple of the first ones as I set up them up to launch today. It's Monday, right? Monday? Yeah, 26th, Boxing Day. Still figuring out the days of the week and where I'm at. And as you can tell, I'm still getting acclimated and situated here in Oregon, but we're working through it. But this is my third video of the day. It's an important one. It's talking about energy, the energy grid, Bitcoin mining, all that good stuff. Let me share some of it with you. I'm definitely going to be talking about this with Patrick later on, but let me share my screen. Oh, and by the way, got the microphone on. I was able to hear it, and I definitely need that, so that's on now. Here we go. So this is the story. It's from CoinDesk. I was able to get CoinDesk working as well. That's good. So Bitcoin miners powered off as winter storm battered North America. Obviously, it was very, very cold for those of you in North America, Canada, the U.S. Cold snap, whatever they called it, some kind of winter storm, bomb, cyclone, snowpocalypse, whatever they called it. Anyway, it was cold. Cold all across the U.S. It was colder in Myrtle Beach than it was out here in Oregon, which is very interesting. If you happen to watch the NFL at all this weekend, it was on the record-setting cold. I think it was like 7 or 8 games below freezing. Pretty bad stuff. Computing power on the Bitcoin network dropped about 40% over the weekend. That's significant. That refers to the hash rate and the power grid. Miners across the U.S. powered down over the weekend as a powerful storm swept across North America. The Bitcoin mining hash rate, won't explain it for you there. You can read if you like. Dropped about 100 exahash per second. That's a lot. All right. That's the 1,000 terahash, or 40%, 256 exahashes per second. Don't worry about the numbers. It dropped 40% between December 21st, which was the solstice, and December 24th, Christmas Eve. Data from BTC.com. It can return back to about 250 normal levels on Christmas Day. Practices known as curtailment is a way for miners to help the electricity grids. Basically, when the power grid can't handle the load, which was happening, there were rolling blackouts across North America. The miners kind of shut down voluntarily to support the network. Foundry USA, the biggest mining pool in the U.S., lost more than half its hash rate on December 23rd, the biggest loss of any major pool, according to statistics from information platform Mining Pool Stats. Some of the U.S. biggest miners also curtailed operations. These include Riot Blockchain and Core Scientific, which is also undergoing Chapter 11 bankruptcy procedures. That's Core Scientific. I think Riot Blockchain is still fine. In Texas, 99% of industrial-scale Bitcoin mining load was turned off at 6 a.m. on Saturday. So it was significant. Dennis Porter, an advocate for the industry through a nonprofit group called Satoshi Action Fund, said the miners' curtailment is proof that they are supporting the electric grid. That's true. But also, on the other hand, Denis Razinovich, a Europe-based miner, tweeted that the big drop in computing power is another confirmation that Bitcoin's geographical diversification is vital. So again, there's something about the winter storm. They give this anyway. Let me drop out of here, and I'll just talk to you guys once again and give you my unique take on all this. So I can't wait to talk to Divvy Daddy about this. Because he used to be a Bitcoin miner, and he watches things like the hash rate and other things, and he saw the dip this weekend. Now, the dip could be attributable to a number of things, could also be masking a few things. It could be about the temperature, and it could be about the power grid in North America and the U.S. with a cold snap. Absolutely true. Could also be that people are shutting down miners and bringing other miners online, such as Bitmain, with new miners. That's also possible. Could be both. Yes, be a perfect opportunity to roll one out, and while the other one was like, hey, there's going to be a dip anyway. Let's go ahead and shut ours off and online the new ones. So that's one of the first indicators that new mining equipment is coming out, which will lower the cost of mining because they'll be more power efficient, which will make it more profitable at lower electrical. It'll make it profitable when the cost of electricity is still relatively high. Right now, I think in the U.S., I think break-even is around 6 or 7 cents. We will be talking about this on EconomicPreppers. That's something we normally talk about crypto and mining and what's good, what's bad. But The end of crypto winter is going to happen when there's significant improvements in mining. And those also going to be, I guess, voluntary or involuntary curtailment in mining. The hash rate will go down because some companies will not be profitable anymore and they will go offline. So what does this also mean? It also means that decentralization is critical, not just from a government or geographic standpoint, but also from the power grid. The power grid is one of the three components that is necessary for successful mining. Well, temperature control, power distribution and availability, and the actual miners themselves. Those are the three things those are the three main components of a mining facility. Yeah, you want security, other stuff, but for the most part, you can't mine without the miner itself, power, and well, you need internet connectivity, but that's actually pretty insignificant. You don't need to talk to the network that often. About 6 or 7 times an hour at low bandwidth is more than enough. It's more about timing, but it's also the electricity and the temperature control to keep that miner that you buy with capital expense up and running and producing Bitcoin on average. That's why, and you smooth out those averages because it's very binary. It's like you either win a Bitcoin or you don't, and most of the time you don't. But you join a mining pool to smooth out that binary events every 10 minutes. Either you win or you don't, and more often than not, you don't win. But if you have lots of miners, or if you have lots of hash rate, or if you're in a pool where everybody's mining, and you share in the rewards, then you get more rewards over time, and it smooths out on a weekly basis or monthly or however you calculate it. But you get rewards more often. They're not as significant, and you may give up a small percentage of it to the pool operator themselves. But most Bitcoin, I would say all major Bitcoin miners are in a pool, just so they can plan and predict their rewards on a more reasonable schedule, rather than just like, oh, we got one today, then oh, we didn't get a block, we didn't win the block today, so you can plan that out. But it's highlighting that you need to be decentralized, not just geopolitically, not just because of one company, but also from the power grid. So I know that there's companies that are out there working on decentralized power. I think one of the tokens I do remember looking at was, it was called Power. I think the token was POWER. I'm going to look it up real quick. I definitely remember looking at that one, and I think they were based out of Australia. So give me just 1 second. But these are the kind of things that you're going to need to look up, and you're going to need to understand that these are things that are needed going forward. We can't be reliant on our power grid, which is very dated most everywhere, and we're just, the operators are, they're doing the best they can, but it's going to be tricky. There's going to be more and more demand on power on the electrical grid, thanks to well, you name it. Like either you have electric cars, everything that's based on electricity, and it just happens more and more. And I can't. There we go. Power. I have to do more digging on this, but I know that, and that's why I didn't share it, and I didn't do it ahead of time. But there's definitely that's what it's called. That's I'll do some digging. I'll make another video when I do a little bit more homework. But decentralization comes in many forms. Reliance on one thing, like if you happen to live in, just say, Maryland, you're reliant on Potomac Power and Energy or BGE, depending on how close you are to Baltimore or DC. And you get those all across the U.S. based on your local utility. Now they say that they spread it around because they have different power companies, but there's distribution and there's generation. And I won't go all into the details, but you are reliant on your local utility in some way, shape, or form to keep the lights on, keep the power running, keep the power being distributed. So if they have a problem or over demand and start throttling you down for whatever reason, it's going to impact your mining business. So miners are going to be really looking for a decentralized solution to this problem in the future, and it's going to be more and more prevalent to most any crypto project, because you're going to have to keep either the staking servers up or the mining rigs up and running. So that was my take on it. So yes, there's good and bad. So like, yes, they helped out the grid by shutting down, but they hurt themselves by shutting down, hurt their operations. So the grid is the power grid in the United States and many other countries is a susceptibility, and it's actually a target vector for those who want to cause harm to that particular country. So there's a risk to it. So the sooner that we alleviate that risk, the better off that we're going to be, both from a geopolitical risk and also a mining and crypto risk. So that's my take on it. I would love to read your comments on it and what you think about the fact that they had to shut down the power. And while Bitcoin miners shut things off, and you can't shut off people's heat, if they need to survive. So I'd love to read your comments. Looking forward to reading them. But for all that said, I'm going to close the door on the Bureau, say file leader one more time, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.